Today's top headlines, which I'm surprised. Also, some new information on Social Security, a new announcement out of the IRS, as well as so much more that just hit the wire today. It's been a very busy day so far. I have all the latest updates for you right here in this video, so let's get right into it as we have a lot to cover. Alright, so first off, do you want to take a wild guess at what didn't happen today? Yeah, unbelievable. I'll give you a little hint. It is something that has happened every single day over the last 7 days, but today is the first day in the last week it didn't happen. Yup, you're right. We did not hit a new all-time high record when it comes to the national average for 1 gallon of gas. Literally since Friday of last week all the way through yesterday, we've been seeing a new record when it comes to the national average for 1 gallon of gas every single day. And today, we did not hit a new record. Wow, we're moving up in the world these days. Yeah, at least we're actually on the right track here and slowing this thing down because we should not be hitting a new record every single day like we did for the last week. Anyway, I wanted to bring that to your attention right away because honestly, it's a little bit exciting that at least at the end of the day, maybe we finally stopped this runaway train and maybe this thing will turn around and start going the other direction, which unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case, but maybe it actually will. Anyway, I wanted to point that out for you right away. Next, let's quickly talk about some new information out of Social Security. Yet again, some more problems ahead of this major administration here, the Social Security Administration, which sends out benefits to tens of millions of people every single month. So let me tell you the details on this. Yesterday, Congress held a meeting to figure out what they can do to help Social Security right now because unfortunately, they are way understaffed and people are calling in and not getting the support that they need. So a new report was just released showing that in 2021, the average person who called Social Security sat on hold for 13 minutes. I'm going to be real with you. I called Social Security in 2021. I did not sit on hold for 13 minutes. I'd like to meet the people who did because congratulations, that is like record speed. Honestly, I don't know how long I sat on hold for, but I know it was way more than 13 minutes. But anyway, this is the report that was released and said the average person waited on hold in 2021 for 13 minutes to wait to talk to an agent. So again, not really sure who these people are, but if that was you, hey, congratulations, you got through in record speeds. Anyway, the report went on to show that in 2011, 55.4 million people were receiving Social Security benefits, and as of last year, over 65 million people. So in a 10-year period of time, essentially 10 million more people started drawing on Social Security benefits. So I guess the whole argument right now is that they're way underfunded and they need more staff because they can't keep up with all the calls, with all the additional beneficiaries, and all the new applications and everybody else coming in right now trying to grab their Social Security benefits. As I just discussed the other day in one of the other videos, SSDI benefits alone right now, Social Security Disability, they are backed up 1.1 million applications right now that are still awaiting processing. Yeah, these people need the benefits like right away, right? So anyway, that's just a couple updates out of Social Security. Now let's quickly talk about an update out of the IRS that was just announced today. If you're somebody who is still awaiting a tax refund, as in you're waiting for maybe the other lump sum payment of your child tax credits, or maybe your stimulus check that you didn't receive from last year, or maybe you filed and you're waiting for your tax refund from the earned income tax credit, or maybe you just paid too much and now they owe you a refund. Here's what they said. They will now be paying a 5% interest rate on the money that they owe you. Not bad, right? 5% is honestly, that's pretty generous. Generally, we do not see interest rates that are this generous. 5%, if you ever want to get 5% from a bank, good luck. It's not happening, right? 5% at a bank is like old news. I mean, you'd have to go back to like the 80s to get 5% interest from a bank. It's just not happening anymore. But the IRS will pay you 5% on the money that they owe you for your tax refund. So, pretty cool stuff. One other thing we need to point out as well. Generally, it takes them about 21 days to process a tax return. Again, if you call within the 21-day period of time, they'll essentially tell you, we can't tell you anything. We're still within the 21-day window. So generally, they process tax refunds within 21 days. And outside of that, they may accept your call and start processing or start answering some questions and trying to figure out what's going on. However, by law, according to what this article was saying, is they must process tax returns within 45 days of receiving them. So, by law, they have to have it processed within 45 days. As of right now, there are still tens of millions of tax returns waiting processing. So, they're really backed up, right? But this is no new story. We've heard about this for a very long time. In fact, coming into the tax season this year, they were backed up like tens of millions of tax returns from last year still as well. So, I don't remember the exact number. It was a lot, though. Tens of millions of returns still awaiting processing from last year that were still backed up. So anyway, that was some information out of the IRS. Now, a new report that was just released today also is showing how consumers, or us, the American people, are feeling about the economy right now. Do you want to take a little guess? I'll just tell you. 20%, in other words, 2 out of every 10 people are feeling like the economy is going in the right direction. In other words, 80% of people, 8 out of every 10 people, feel like the economy is going in the wrong direction. So that's a huge spread there, right? Generally, we see these numbers around 50%. Usually it's like 54 and 46. It's usually right around that 50% range. Most people are kind of feeling, either one way or the other, and it's usually kind of evenly split down the middle. But this is really weighted toward one direction, right? That is huge. 80% of people feel like the economy is going in the wrong direction right now. So that's unbelievable, right? All right. Anyway, we've been talking a lot about the recession word lately. There's been this word thrown around a ton lately. There's been a lot of talk about this, the economy slowing down, all kinds of different things. Inflation going through the roof right now. In fact, as we're talking about inflation, there were a number of people out recently saying that the Federal Reserve needs to stop playing around and trying to raise interest rates by just 0.5%. In other words, 50 basis points or 0.5% each meeting. Rather, they need to come out and raise rates by 100 basis points. In other words, 1%. They just need to get this done and over with and just get ahead of all this inflation right away, rather than trying to tiptoe their way into this. And it's going to actually cause some economic pain, but at the end of the day, it will actually slow down inflation rather than dragging it out as they're currently doing with this little 0.5% raise each and every time every 6 weeks. It's just not cutting it. It's going to take a very long time, and realistically, this inflation is not going to slow down anytime soon if they do not come in really aggressively, like 100 basis points moves like that. So anyway, some people were out today kind of sounding off on that. I was listening in. Of course, I always like to take both sides of the story just because it's always fair to hear both sides of the argument, and that's what I like to do. But this is pretty unanimous across many people saying they got to move more aggressively to lower this inflation. It's nuts out there. Prices continue to move higher on essentially everything. As long as we're talking about the economy and recession, let's quickly talk about the stock market for just a second here. So, the S&P 500 technically dipped into bear market territory today. So it actually fell below the 20% mark since the all-time highs that were set back in January, just a few months ago. The all-time highs were set in on the S&P 500, but it actually went down below 20% today. However, shortly before the close of the market, the buyers stepped back in and drove the market a little bit higher. Ultimately, the market and the S&P closed still down. So the S&P is down about 18% from the all-time highs that were set back in January, just a few months ago. So technically, we're not in a bear market quite yet, even though it went down. It exceeded the 20%. Kind of depends on who you ask, what kind of statisticians you ask, people that watch this stuff. But technically, it's got to be a close below the 20% in order for it to be that bear market. So we dipped a toe in the water today, but we didn't actually jump in and stay in. You know what I mean? We kind of walked out on the dock, dipped our toe in, and said, nah, I'm good, let's go back, rather than jumping in and staying in. So anyway, we'll have to see what happens to the market here going forward, but we'll have to see what actually happens. Now, another really cool story here. Now, I've been talking about this one for the last, maybe 3 months or so since this first started, but he's back at it, and I want to share you the details on this one. So remember Willie Wilson? Does that name ring a bell? I've talked about this guy a few times here on the channel over the last few months here. He is a successful and apparently very wealthy business person in the Illinois and Chicago area. Well, he's back at it. So here's what he did. A few months ago, he came out and gave away $200,000 worth of free gas. Well, then like 2 weeks later, he came back and gave away $1 million worth of free gas. Well, then again, a couple weeks later, he came back and did it again, another $1 million of free gas. So he was into it for $2.2 million as far as how much money he gave away in free gas to the residents in the local Chicago area. Guess what? He's back. Willie Wilson, he's coming back. He is back at it. So here's what he's doing. He's coming back again. He's throwing down another $1 million. And he's doing it for food and gas this time. So it sounds like it's going to be in that same area around the Chicago area. Again, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know Chicago all that well. Never been there. So I'm not familiar with it all that well. But it is in the Chicago area, probably the same kind of parameters as far as where the gas giveaways were going on. The information that I was able to find today was very limited. However, if you're in the Chicago area, please check this out. Willie Wilson is back, another $1 million thrown down, and this is going to be starting on Monday. This coming Monday is when this is all thrown down, and he's going to start, giving this away for food and gas. Previously, the last $2.2 million was just for gas, but now it's for food as well. So this is super cool stuff, right? So Willie Wilson, the philanthropist, the very successful businessman, the, what do you want to say? I don't know. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about him other than he's apparently a pretty cool dude, and he's obviously pretty wealthy too. If he has essentially $3.2 million that he can just throw down like this and help some people out. Cool stuff, right? I love stories like this. As I've expressed before, I love hearing stuff like this because it's so cool to see somebody who's done obviously really well for himself to come back and give it back to the community, help out a ton of people, and just kind of share the wealth, right? Super cool stories. I love this kind of stuff. So, anyway, if you're in the Chicago area, please check that out. Willie Wilson throwing down again another $1 million on the table from him and helping out the people right there in that Chicago area. It certainly would be cool to see other people around the country kind of doing the same thing, or maybe I should just say, it would be nice if Congress actually did something, right? I mean, who am I kidding here? Why should the private sector have to step up and do something like this? Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of very wealthy people out there that are philanthropists and give away hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars a year. But the fact of the matter is, why isn't Congress doing this, right? I think, as I said that, I thought, wait, why am I talking about the private sector? We should be talking about Congress right now. They're the ones with the checkbook that literally has no end to it, right? It's just a blank check all the time. So why they're not doing programs like this, still not quite sure. But we have seen a number of proposals as of recently. We've seen a number of different things hitting the table as far as stimulus checks, gas rebates, voucher programs, all kinds of different things that have been hitting the table out of Congress, introduced in the Senate, all kinds of things like this. So hopefully Congress will come to their senses as well and do something cool like this. Maybe they'll follow in the footsteps of Willie Wilson and do some kind of cool stuff like he's doing around the entire country, not just in one city, one state, locality, something like that. But maybe Congress will come out and actually do that for everybody. Anyway, these are the updates that I have for you as of right now. Of course, a very busy day. I wanted to come back, lay these all out for you, let you know what's actually going on. As always, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe down below. I'm here for you every single day, right by your side, bringing you the latest updates and dedicated to helping you out in any way that I possibly can. I know it's a tough time out there. Seriously, I know the struggle is real. I see it down in the comment section every single day. All the hundreds of comments that I read, I see it. I know what's going on. It's unfortunate. Of course, I don't know your exact situation. Everybody's situation is very different, but I feel for you. Seriously, I'm feeling for everybody right now, and I think all of us are feeling probably equally as frustrated that we're in this situation now. Right now, I think is arguably probably the worst time that we've had in the last 2 years since this whole COVID thing started. They were pumping money out the door left and right over the last 2 years. Well, the first year of it at first, so like 2020 and 2021, and all of a sudden here we are. Things are real bad, and it's like, it seems like they can't really figure out what to do. So I don't know. Anyway, I'll keep you posted with anything going on right now. There's a lot going on out there. I'm right here for you every single day. So please make sure to subscribe down below, share this video or any others here on the channel with your friends, family, social media, and of course, go back and check out some of the other 2,500 plus videos right here on the channel. Thanks again. I appreciate it. Enjoy your day, and I'll catch you again later in the next